Alrighty, I'll go ahead and bring this meeting to order of the Board of Directors for the Redwood Coast Transit Authority. Please call the roll.
Director Altman.
Here.
Director Short.
I'm here.
Director Borges. Chairman Wright.
Here. Alrighty, Pledge of Allegiance. Ready, begin. Pledge of Allegiance. Flag. United States. Republic. One nation. Alrighty, let's open up for public comment. Do we have any public comment out there? Oh. Alrighty, seeing none, I will bring it to the consent calendar. We have 2 items on there, our meeting minutes for October 27th and our approve of a purchase order by way of number 2025-26-21.
I'll move to approve.
I have a motion.
Second.
Any public comment on our consent calendar? Seeing none, please pull the vote.
Director Borges.
Yes.
Director Short.
Yes.
Director Altman.
Yes.
Chairman Wright.
Yes. Alrighty, and we're down to item number 4, which is closed session, public employee performance evaluations pursuant to Government Code Section 54957B, position Executive Director.
Right, we're all set up in the conference room to go back there, and we have our attorney, and we'll talk.
Sorry, yes, you're right. Any public comment for closed session agenda item? All right, thank you. We'll retire. We'll reconvene from closed session. We have nothing to report out. And let's move to item number 5, approve resolution number 2025-26-04, adopting RCTA 2025 short-range transit plan.
All right, thank you, Chair Wright. Thank you for the board for the closed session. This item, the Short Range Transit Plan, or SRTP, has been in front of the board twice in the last 3 or 4 meetings. We looked at the draft final at our last meeting in late October. So the staff report just kind of highlights what's in it, sections, and then what changed since the draft final. And there was just a few things, because I did a round of comments. Caltrans also commented on the draft final. So there was a few little adjustments made. You see those on page 2 of your staff report. One of which was to insert the fiscal year 24-25 data, which was very positive. So that was kind of gave the report much more of a brighter and lighter feel to it, which was great. We included an analysis of if we made the current medical shuttle, if it ever morphed into received funding so it could morph into a fixed route to Medford. And the reason we did that is because if it were to happen, the first thing that the funding powers will be, well, is this in anybody's plan? So yes, it's in the plans. This way, if money does come to us, we could pursue it. Otherwise, they would say, oh, it's not in the plan anywhere, so it's not eligible. So that's in there for potential future project. We did some corrections, found a couple things in the financials. One of the CARES years was missed out, so that helped a little bit. But other than that, the initial report was pretty heavy on on-time performance problems, literally because the week they were here in September of 2023, we had a bad. I'll be the first to admit it. But then I showed them the OTP performance reports from our AVL, from our software, and they saw that that was an anomaly, so they softened that language a little bit in the final. Other than that, I will take any questions you might have. I think it's a really good report and it's balanced. We don't know what the financial future is going to be, and that's just the biggest overlying theme that we face. So it has some potential cuts in it in case things don't get better or get worse, but it also has a few potential expansions in case things do get better. So I think it was a good plan in that respect, and I'm looking forward to hear what if the board has any thoughts on it.
Not gonna lie, I was not able to read through the whole thing. Board, any questions, comments? Good. Alrighty, then any public comment on item number 5? Seeing none, I'll bring it back to the board.
Okay, make a motion to adopt resolution 2025-26-04.
Second.
Motion is second. Please poll the vote.
Director Short,
Yes.
Director Altman,
Yes.
Director Borges,
Yes.
Chairman Wright.
Yes, and we'll move on to item number 6, award agreement to Mobility House for Williams Drive Charge Management System in not to exceed amount of $29,083 and authorize the executive director to execute agreement documents.
All right, thank you, Chair Wright. We have a brief PowerPoint that I'll just run through real quick on this one, and then we can go from there. So we did an RFP for this charge management system, and what it is it's software and hardware that work together when our electric vehicles are in the yard charging to make sure that they get enough charge for their duty the next day, or whenever they have to go back into revenue service. But also it's there to avoid peaks that will increase our electric bill, and to charge as much in the lowest cost hours as possible. Because for me, we're doing the electric bus project because CARB mandates it statewide. We have to. So we're trying to make this mandate into a positive if we can save on fuel costs, or at least not dig ourselves deeper on fuel costs. So I think it's really important that this charge management system is part of our project so that we can get the lowest utility bills possible once we have our fleet charging in the yard. So we did the RFP. We received 5 proposals. It was scored by an independent group, including our maintenance manager, myself, and two consultants that we have from pro bono consultants that were helping us from Cal ITP, which is Caltrans's Innovation and Technology Group. So anyway, the top scorer clearly on everyone's scoring was Mobility House, which is who we're recommending for you today. And they put together a little presentation for us that we saw when we interviewed them. We interviewed two firms, the highest scoring one, which are these folks, and then the second best, which was another one. But they were distant second, and then the distance, the divide even got greater during the interview. So Mobility House is 16 years old. They come from Europe, 300 plus people. They started in Munich. They have offices Paris, Singapore, and Zurich. Then here in America, in the Bay Area in Belmont. A lot of experience with public transit especially. So they've kind of made a niche for themselves for just projects like us where public transit agencies are going to be fueling mostly in their, or charging, I should say, mostly in their own yards. This shows a little snip of who all they've worked with. Many of these are transit agencies. Others are chargers, charging station manufacturers. Here's a little map showing where their deployments are at. So the white dots are actually in operation today. The blue ones are in the implementation phase. So they've got some clients in our area, in our state. There's some to the north of us in Oregon and Washington. There's some here in California. Weed Elementary School, Trinity High School in Weaverville, and Lassen Union High School District. So they've done quite a bit of work around here. Transit agency-wise, Antelope Valley down in Lancaster, Long Beach Transit. And a number of transit agencies outside the state. So we thought they put a great, can't go back. Sure, I can. Beauty of the right click. They really understood our project and our constraints, being as remote as we are, and how we're going to use the we plan to use our electric buses for our local service that's here close in town, and then continue to provide our regional routes with the diesel buses. So we'll have a subfleet of diesels. We'll have a new subfleet shortly. We'll get one this winter and then order about 6 or 7 more that'll be here in a year or so. So we'll use the electric vehicles for the more local routes, which they're better suited. They understood that. Their software will have a local controller for power outages and internet down, and we do have that. Scott can speak to it too. We've had some trouble with that lately even. So we think we need that redundancy so that we can always charge no matter what's going on as far as power. You're going to hear a little bit more about that on an item here in a minute where we're having some design for backup generators issues. But Mobility House really understood our project. You can tell they did their homework in their proposal. This graphic shows a little how it works. So there'll be a controller that'll be probably in Neil's office, and then switches, and then that communicate out to all the chargers in the yard that are actually connected to the vehicles. And then there'll be a web portal which is really good, where I can even see remotely, being far away. I can see the status of chargers, or Neil can see it from home. So we can check and make sure if there's a problem with chargers, and they do tend to, it's the nature of the beast. They do tend to go down. And the procurement was really strict that we have charger agnostic, so regardless of what brand of actual charger we get, the system will work with it. So it gives us the flexibility and freedom to do that. And yeah, this kind of shows what our goal is, to level out the charging and stuff to lower utility bills and keep them under control as we grow our EV fleet. And this solution seems to be really that's in their wheelhouse. Any questions? I'm by no means an expert, so you're getting the presentation from someone that's just kind of learning as I go about it and how they work. But yeah, so these will be hardwired, so we'll run fiber optics from the chargers into the maintenance office so that we don't rely on cellular network for the system to work. So we're trying to build as much redundancy and resiliency into it. Any questions?
Look like it.
We'll even have a cool little map that shows the buses in the yard with color coding and how they're charging, going, if they're charging or if they're at what state of charge. That's all I've got for that one.
Alrighty, I don't see anything, so let's open that up to public comment. Any public comment? Seeing no public comment, I'll bring back to the board.
I move we award the agreement to Mobility House for Williams Drive Charge Management System in not to exceed amount of $29,083 and authorize the executive director to execute agreement documents.
I have a motion
I'll second that.
and a second, please. Please pull the vote.
Director Altman,
Yes.
Director Borges,
Yes.
Director Short,
Yes.
Chairman Wright.
Yes, and we'll move to item number 7, which is approve amendment 1 with Doken Engineering for Williams Drive plan spec and estimates, adding $33,500 for survey and design for generators, and authorize the executive director to execute documents.
All right, thank you, Chair Wright. We have a guest presenter on this. Kaylee from Green Dot is going to give us a little overview on this, and then we'll ask for your vote. Kaylee, can you hear us?
Yep. Can you hear me?
Yep, go ahead.
Awesome. Hi, everyone. For those of you who have not yet met, I am Kaylee Flynn. I'm a senior transportation planner with Green Dot Transportation Solutions, and we're working with Joe and RCTA to serve as the on-call consultant to help manage the TRCIP projects, including the Williams Drive bus charging infrastructure project. So as the agenda states, we're here today to request the approval of an amendment with our PS&E consultant, Dokken Engineering, in the amount of $33,500 for 3 scope items that will bring us to 100% design and bid documents. So the reason why we are requesting that is as work began, on-site visits took place with these consultants. It became clear that we would need a site survey to ensure that all project elements are included within the extents of the next ground lease to be put together for Williams Drive. And so that was not part of the original scope. And additionally, the original scope did not account for the 2 backup generators that are needed to be integrated into the electrical design and site plans. So this amendment before you will address those shortfalls and enable our consultants to deliver a successful project for us. So the staff report has a detailed memo, but I'm happy to answer any questions now here with Joe. But we hope you approve this for completing the PS&E phase for this project. Thank you.
Thank you, Kaylee.
Alrighty, we got any public comment on this item?
It's a good idea.
Seeing none, I'll bring it back to the board. Any questions or a motion?
I just have a curiosity question on the justification and reasoning. Just to design the backup generator, what's the $11,900? Like what designing isn't it? Isn't it just a certain amount of kilowatts and that's the size generator we need? What's the justification for the 70+ hours to design the backup generator? How does that unfold?
Yeah, I think a lot of it is to make the right selection of generator equipment and then to design the connecting conduits and location and stuff. I think it's a mix of all 3 of those. The fact that we just omitted it from the scope.
So this is for all 3 of the generators?
Two generators. So the one we haven't bought yet and then the one we have bought but haven't installed. So there'll be a big generator that they still need to size, spec, and include in the project that will provide backup power for the chargers themselves in a power outage. And then we purchased with a grant that came to us a year or so ago, maybe two now, we purchased a generator for the building. We just need to get it, we never had a chance to get it installed since it came, so we just waited for this project to come. So they'll design the pad and the conduit and the connections for that near the back of the building. That'll feed into the current switchgear for the building. So we're going to have two separate electrical services, building and charging.
Okay.
Seems like it'd be cheaper just to get one generator for both, but that's not my area of expertise for sure. You good?
Yeah, I'm good.
So I'll make a motion that we approve item number 7.
I have a motion.
As stated on the agenda.
Second.
All right, motion and a second. Please pull the vote.
Director Short,
Yes.
Director Borges,
Yes.
Director Altman,
Yes.
Chairman Wright.
Yes. All righty, we'll move to item number 8.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Kaylee. Appreciate you.
Update on, do you say LCTOP or do you say LICTOP?
I say LC top.
Okay, LC top, okay, because, all right.
Yeah.
Funding and LC top funded programs.
All right, thank you, Chair Wright, appreciate it. This is a discussion-only item. We wanted to touch base on it because it affects a couple of our high-profile programs. So the LC top is the spending program, one of the spending programs that's funded by the state's cap and trade program. I think they're changing it to cap and a little bit different name now, but it's been cap and trade for the last 10 years or so. Yeah, since 2014. We receive our LC top. It's technically formula-based, but then when Caltrans kind of administered the program, they made it to where you have to submit projects that they approve. So in a way, it's part competitive and part formula. But essentially, we've as we walk through the thing, you'll see kind of what's happened to us. We've had to change our project because of Caltrans a couple of times. We were getting about $70,000 a year appropriation from LC Top for most of the last 10 years. There was one down year early in the program where we only got 20-some, and then we just got the estimate apportionments for next year out, and they're dropping again. So, you know, that's one of the main themes of today's presentation on this item is it looks like the LC Top fund is declining in value. At least projected for next year. So we do have some concerns about that because we've grown our programs to spend most of what we were getting, which was historically around 75,000 per year, and now it's projected to drop considerably down to about 46 next year. We've mostly used this for our free rides fare box subsidy program. We started with a year or so of bus shelters back in 2015. Then we developed our partnership with the college at first, and we started the student free ride subsidy program, and that's what we used our 16, 17, 17, 18, and 18, 19 LC top allocations for. That was about $150,000, which was way more than we were spending it because it was a brand new program and it was just limited at the time to college students. So an important part of our market, but the numbers weren't huge. So we built a good balance there during that 3-year period of funding, which was good because then Caltrans, when we went to apply for our 1920 money for the same project, Caltrans said no, and we had to do something else, and they guided us to ask money for electrification because that was about the same time that the CARB ICT rule came out stating that thou shalt buy nothing but electric vehicles or zero emission vehicles, I should say, by late in this decade, which is where we're at now. So we did 3 years of, I believe we did 4 years, I'm sorry, of the electric bus or fleet electrification project in 1920, through 22, 23. So that built up a balance. That the LC top money can't be spent on planning or engineering. So it's been basically sitting in that balance, most of it, since then, because our project wasn't ready yet. We were working through early planning, and now we're in design now. So construction's finally on the horizon next year, but all this time the money's been set aside for the fleet electrification. One thing we did, we asked, and I believe we run it through the board too. We did a correction and got 1 year of the electric bus program transferred over to the free bus because we were running out of funds for that. So they did that. So we've already done 1 year's worth of that, converted from the one project to the other. The chart on page 2 kind of shows we still have a balance in the electric bus fund of about $139K. And now that we're getting closer to the project, we're getting ready to spend that on the local match for this first electric vehicle that's due I just talked to the manufacturer, probably going to be in January, but at least it's already on the line. In fact, it's supposed to come off the line today. So it'll probably take them about a month to get it prepped and get it to us. But so we'll have it very soon. That'll be our first EV. We get one little charger, a level 2 trickle charger with it that we believe we can install in the garage with our current service panel and handle it. So that'll be our pilot bus to kind of shake down with. But it needs a local match. So we could spend all 139 on that. We could spend 100 on it. We could spend none on it, but that money is currently there for fleet electrification. So it would be eligible to spend it on our first bus. We got $160,000 for that bus from the Volkswagen settlement program. So we need, unfortunately, that's about half of what the cost of the bus is. So we need a pretty good local match. So this would help with that great deal. So the discussion kind of comes down to, with the program, this last year on the free bus side, we had a $71,000 allocation of LC top for the year, and the free bus program consumed 61 of it. So it's getting close to maxing out as it is, and then now we get a lower fund projection for next year, which is worrisome. So we're kind of seeking input from the board on how to kind of finesse through this. How much should we spend on the local match of the first electric vehicle or should we ask for they call it a cap, but we could move money between the two projects so that we have enough to fund our free rides program longer without, and then by taking from the electric bus money. At this point, we're not really making a recommendation. We don't have to make a decision. We just want the board to be aware of this and kind of get your feel for how important the fare subsidy project is. Over the years, it started with college students only. It grew to include veterans, middle school and high school, so youth essentially, which is really popular. I think I have some numbers here on the back page that show, for the numbers from this last year, so from fiscal year 24-25, 40,390 boardings were free under this program, and we were reimbursed $61,751. And then you can see the different groups that are using the service. So seniors was a huge amount, so 14,942 were folks 65 or older that were enjoying the free rides that otherwise would have been, 75 cents a piece or $15 monthly pass. So that was, very popular with the seniors. Then it's broken out too. So the disabled, we added the certified disabled with proof. So 9,000 of those rode for free last year. And then 1,118 was one or the other. I guess they were unable to fish out which one it was. So a total of like 25,000 rides in the demographic of senior and disabled. We carried 2,600 veterans, high schoolers, almost 10,000 rides last year, so it's a huge part of what we do. That includes middle schoolers too, so that's a misnomer, high school and middle school. And then at the college level, College of Redwoods participated heavily. Their students took advantage of 2,891 rides last year. Cal Poly Humboldt only 85, but it makes sense, it's further away. So it would hurt to have to reduce that program. If it consumes more than the LC Top Fund can provide, what'll happen, we can keep it going, it can be invisible to the riders, we'll just have to take it out of our operating, the overage out of the operating. So, wanted to make that available. Does the board want us to pursue spending all of the remaining balance of that electric bus fund, which was like 140? It's probably 140 with interest. I couldn't get a fresh interest figure from finance in time for the staff report. So let's just say it's 140,000 there. Should we spend it all on the electric bus itself, which would help us on the capital side, but then we'd have no money to borrow from if we wanted to move some across so that we can survive next year's downturn in the funding and keep our free ride program? Just want to hear your thoughts on kind of how you want to go on that, and then we can bring this back for action next meeting or the meeting after.
I have a son that rides that bus, so I don't have an opinion. I didn't realize we were gonna go into that, so I confused myself.
I got you. I mean, I'd hate to see that program go away. It's very beneficial, obviously. And then I think, you know, especially with the youth, the more they utilize it at a younger age, the more comfortable they feel as they get older and utilize it all throughout the rest of their life because they're comfortable with it. So I'd hate to see that go away. So I'm gearing more towards using some of that funding to keep that program going. That'd be my personal input.
Same.
Yeah. Same here. I grew up riding the bus. I'm from Riverside. I rode that bus elementary school to high school, basically. So I'd say keep it. I want to definitely see some of those funds going towards that.
And we have some, Scott wants to talk on the item because he's been out there administering the program.
I guess it would be helpful to know how much money on hand helps with borrowing.
In what respect?
Well, you said if we keep the money, we can use it as kind of like a vehicle to borrow funds against, or are you talking about using it as a tool for grant funding where you have to pay a certain matching funds or?
Oh, okay, yeah, thank you. Let me explain that a little better. So right now, the electric bus money, so it's about 140,000 sitting in it's been building up, it's been in the fund balance for years now. So with that 140, we could throw it all at the purchase of the first Endera pilot EV bus that's coming next month. If we did that, we wouldn't have any of that to borrow to supplement the free ride program that I hear all of us. I love the free ride program. It's not just because it was my idea, just because I love it. It's been effective and it helps us get to the student market. I mean, it's been really important. It's been really impressive the way that's worked. So yeah, if we take all of that and put it towards the purchase of the bus, that helps us on like our capital money side, but it won't, then we can't use some of it to prop up the free ride program. So for example, if we just took 30 or 40,000 from that and then paid the other 100,000 towards the bus, that would make up for this projected shortfall the fund's going to have next year and would buy us another year. You know, because we're going to need about, the way ridership grew last year, I expect the 61 we needed last year will probably grow to more like 70 or so, because the more people ride, the more we have to reimburse and backfill the money. So the more money we need in the free rides fund. So that would, if I had to make the call without board decision, or if you guys were not sure which way you wanted to go, I would probably recommend taking 30 or 40 from that electric bus and doing a cap for that so that we have enough for at least one more full year of the free rides until we hopefully the LC Top Fund rebounds. I mean, it's based on like cap and trade sales from our major polluters in the state. So for whatever reason, they're projecting a down year, but hopefully it may bounce back in the out years.
If you take a little extra and it, you know, for the next year, it's 30 to 40,000 to fund it, correct?
Yeah.
If you don't spend it all, is that something that, like by next year, we could bring it back into the electric bus fund type
Yeah.
of thing?
Yeah.
So if we
can.
doubled that number and said like 60,000 out of the 140,
Mhm.
would that be a wise move, or is that just an overkill and a waste of funding that we could utilize somewhere else?
I think it would be a good call. One thing I thought about this kind of driving over here today. Next month when we get together, I'll do a little analysis for you, probably discussion or whatever. But the fund that we have that mainly provides the local match for our bus purchases it's a different fund. It's not LC Top. This was the one-time deal that Caltrans made us do it for 3 years there. But the other fund is State of Good Repair. I'll get you guys an analysis of what money's in there for bus replacement and how that, because we have a bunch of buses coming in the next 2 years that we will have to pay local match on. We want to see if that fund will have enough to cover it or close. I think it'd be really important to know that before you make a decision on this. But yeah, we might want to take a little more or 40 or 20 or I think that'll kind of be a great piece of information for you guys to decide how much to request a cap to move from electrification over to free rides.
Okay.
And we don't have that information yet, I apologize.
You're not looking for a decision today,
No,
right? Just a feeling of the direction.
Just a feeling. I want
Okay.
you guys to know about the program and how it's funded, and now all of a sudden it's in a bit of danger just because of the statewide economy and the cap and trade program is not doing well.
Okay.
Enough. All right.
Good, great discussion. Thank you, guys. It didn't make the packet. So I sent out as item number 9 before you announce it. Did everyone get the email? I think it was like yesterday or the day before. I sent out item 9 along with the whole proposal from Mobility House for your reading pleasure. So that doesn't help me now, though I don't have a copy of my staff report, but I think I can wing it on this one. I've been thinking about this a lot. So this item, do you want to introduce it, Isaiah? Or?
Yeah, we'll move to item number 9, discussion of $2 promo fares on Route 20 as part of the North State Express Route 101 promotion.
Thank you. This is another one we don't have no action today, but the North State Express is the name of the collaborative project between ourselves, Humboldt Transit, Mendocino Transit, and Lake Transit feeding in from the east that offers an alternative to Greyhound that pulled out of our area like over a year ago now. We've aligned our schedules of the 3 agencies, so now when in the early morning southbound trip from up here leaves Crescent City at 7:30, leaves Smith River at like 6:45, goes down and that's a segment that goes all the way to Santa Rosa. So they change buses in Eureka and ride Humboldt Transit, a segment down to Ukiah where they change to Mendocino, and then Mendocino takes them into Santa Rosa. And it works pretty good. So the trip down there in the morning, they get down mid-afternoon. And then the afternoon trip, the return trip, it starts in the morning down in Santa Rosa and kind of repeats itself backwards. So Mendocino to Humboldt to us, and that we pick those folks up at 6 o'clock, 6:07 p.m. down in Eureka. So it's working pretty well. So it's been running for about a year now. We've been focusing mostly on operational issues, getting it humming along. But our partners want to start marketing the service now, obviously. We all do. So one of the things they're very much interested, Humboldt's taken the lead on it. They've already adopted this policy, is this $2 for 2-hour promotional fare. So essentially, it'll make each of the 3 segments to get between here and the Bay Area $2 a piece. So it'll be $6 total to ride from Del Norte down to Santa Rosa, which is unbelievable bargain. For the impact to us then is what the fares are currently. So currently we have a distance-based fare on the Route 20. So before I go too deep into that, Route 20 is different from North State Express in that we do 4 trips between Smith River and Crescent City, round trips each day on the 20, and 2, in the winter, it's 2 round trips per day to Eureka on the 20. The North State Express is only, right now, it's only 1 trip one way and 1 trip back north. So we have a lot more Route 20 trips that are not NSE than North State Express than we do that are. But the ones that we have are very important and well-ridden. But yeah, so in theory, the Route 20 is much bigger than the North State Express is a small subset of the Route 20. So the thought is, so with that in mind, how much fares would we lose if we joined the promotion? So remember, we just talked quite a bit about our free rides program. So that also is honored on the 20. So if you're a youth, senior, or a disabled or veteran, you ride the Route 20 free anyway. So it really comes down to the adults is the paying, cash paying segment, or pass buying, which is that complicates things. But anyway, so we have the adults left that do have to pay for the trip, and that runs $250 to $14 based on distance. So if you're just going one zone like Smith River to Crescent City, it's $250. But to go from Smith River all the way to Eureka, it's $14. So we would lose some amount of revenue if we made all those trips $2. So I started diving into this. It's very interesting. So 80% of the riders that use Route 20 only do the 2-zone trips. So it's mainly people from Smith River into Crescent City and Klamath into Crescent City. That's the lion's share. It's like 80% of the trip taking. The other 20% are the long distance trips. So then I dug deeper into those and looked at some fare revenue from last year, because we do keep track of how many zones they pay for with the cash payers. With passes, there's no way to know, other than we don't take passes for the long trips. So the pass users would have to be a 2-zone trip as well, I guess, if you think about it. So just out of the cash ones, we're projecting that it would be about a $12,000 fare loss if we were to do all Route 20 with a $2 flat fare, which would be the simplest to implement, easiest on Scott and his drivers. They don't have to like remember, oh, this trip is $2, but the other trips are regular fare. But that is the second option, would be we could implement it, but only on the North State Express trips. So that's 2 trips a day, 1 in each direction. But then the drivers would have to remember the different fare structure, and I'm not real excited about that. I'm going to talk to the drivers more tomorrow. They'll probably chase me out of town. But I think that would be tricky to implement. It would take some learning curve. We would eventually figure it out, though, so it could be done. And that would reduce it down to maybe 5,000 or 6,000 lost fare per year, because it would only be those 2 trips out of the 10 total. So it's a smaller subsection of the Route 20. And the third way to do it, which would also be, so either of those first 2 options our partners down south would love, because what they want to do is market uniform marketing in the corridor, $2 for 2 hours, $2 per segment. So if we participate in that manner, either of those 2 options, all of Route 20 or at least all the NSX trips, NSE 101 trips, if those are $2, that'll make our partners happy and they can market it accordingly. Another way to do it that would probably not please them as much is we could do what we've been doing and have the $2 fare only on tap cards, though. So we offer that. We take credit cards on the bus, and we have a $2, actually $1 promo fare, $2 if they forget to tap off. But that's been in place for like 3-4 years now on the Route 20. We get a decent amount of folks using their tap cards each month. It's probably plateaued, but we don't promote it too heavily. But so that's available. So we could just keep doing that. So it's sort of participating. It's like 1 foot in, 1 foot out. I don't think it would be as easy to market as a region, because if they're, for example, if Humboldt's accepting cash for $2 and tap cards, all of us are using the tap cards. We're all doing the promo fare on the contactless credit card. But yeah, if we have a different policy than HTA, which has a different than MTA, then it really starts to show the weakness of the partnership. So I don't think they'd like that as much. So, yeah, so this is just a discussion item to get this issue out for you. Mendocino's talking with their board. Humboldt they went all in. They do $2 on all their routes. for, standardization, so that's kind of interesting, something for you guys to think about. Mendocino's in the same spot as we are. They're thinking about it, they're talking with their board, looking at their lost fares, because they also do a distance-based fare that's like $15-20 to get from Ukiah to Santa Rosa, so it'd be a big drop for them to do it as well. So that's probably what they're deliberating about. So like next, I can give you, let's have discussion on it today, and I'll bring you an update on what Mendo's doing next time we meet. I think as long as they're not in, it gives us a little more time to think about it. But I see why, Greg, why they want to do it. Market is a unified service, streamlined, seamless. Couple things I mentioned in the staff report that I don't have here, but I do remember mentioning it. We really need to get an e-commerce site for ticket purchasing, and we're working on that, but it takes longer, as well as maybe some unified vehicle branding or something. But those are longer term projects, or maybe some better over-the-road coaches. None of the three transit agencies have the large buses with the toilets and the reclining seats, that the Greyhound had and Amtrak had. So right now, that's future. Hopefully we can get those in the future. But in the meantime, we definitely need to just traditional market the service, and that's where this concept of the $2 fare comes from. Maybe open it for discussion at that.
Ready?
How long is the promo for? Did I miss that?
I don't know. I think Humboldt, they're doing the $2 flat fare indefinitely. As far as the promotional on the tap cards, that was supposed to be a 1-year deal, but we're in the 3rd year of it now, so everyone's just let it ride.
Okay. So to jump on board with this, that's pretty much you're signing up for. It's going to be forever this price.
Could be.
Okay. I mean, I like the idea of everyone being uniform, but I guess it'd be nice to see what Mendocino did also.
Anybody else? Ready?
Pat, did you want to add anything about the complexity of having them collect different fares on different trips, same route? I think that's problematic. Mhm.
Alrighty. Board, anything else to say? Alrighty. Any public comment on our discussion? Seeing none. Item number 10, announcements.
I've got one. Just wanted to mention one item that fell off the agenda kind of at the last minute this week, was an item relating to the ground lease. And you guys met Catherine again earlier. We asked to delay it a month because she's looking at maybe one other option, but we were going to bring to the board a request to have the chair sign a letter asking the Board of Supervisors to terminate the lease. Because what was discovered is the ground lease we've been on for the 20 years is in the county's name. So when we let county know about that, it's like, well, we thought, we want to do our own lease. We're a joint powers authority. We're relatively independent. So county also agrees. So we were going to do that, and then Catherine, the attorney, thought she might be one other idea we could do, so she asked us to hold it off for a month So that item will appear on next month's agenda, maybe in a different form. But the idea is we need to terminate the current lease and then hopefully, right about line time-wise, execute the new one. We don't want to be without a lease. Right now, we're continuing on the old lease month to month until we can get this figured out. But that's for the Williams Drive facility where we're at, operations.
Alrighty.
And then I wanted to introduce Kelly. This is, Kelly, do you want to introduce yourself? He's TransDev's regional maintenance manager. He's been supporting Neil. Yep. Thank you, Kelly.
Alrighty. Board, anything before I adjourn us? Alrighty, I will adjourn us till Monday, January 26th, 5:30, right here at the Flint Center. Thank you.